going to be cold. It's going to be windy. And the Miami Dolphins have a lot on the line. Let's talk about this. What is up, Finn fans? Miami Dolphins, Buffalo Bills. Take two. Miami got the best of Buffalo in week 3. Ended up winning that one. Buffalo couldn't get in the end zone when they needed to. Miami did. Ended up winning that game. And obviously, Buffalo fans, laundry list of injuries. Not as long as Miami's this time around. But there's a lot to talk about. We're going to be talking about the weather. Right? It's a factor. I'm going to talk about it. We're going to bring up the weather. Obviously, injury reports, breakdowns, 5 things. I'm going to give you my prediction. In that prediction, I am going to talk about playing in the cold. I'm going to talk about the announcement or the discovery of the heaters in last Sunday night's game. I'm going to talk about everything. So let's jump into this. We're going to jump into the injury reports. We're going to start with Miami. Being that the game is played on Saturday, finally I get to give you guys an injury report where we know what's going on. So Elijah Campbell and Eric Rowe are out. Miami Dolphins are running with 3 safeties right now. Fantastic. River Craycraft is doubtful with a calf injury. Maybe you see Eric Izukoma, maybe you don't. And then questionable is Teddy Bridgewater, Teron Armstead, and Jeff Wilson. Teron Armstead came out and said that he is playing Saturday. So he came out and said it. Jeff Wilson, questionable with a hip. I hope he does play. Best running back we got on the team right now. And Teddy Bridgewater, he's going to be inactive because we have Skylar Thompson. Other than that, full participants all around. So if you actually think about it, you could take this like I normally do. You can take this and you can go all the way up to here. And there you go. There's your injury report. Good to see this ugly mug. And then we'll look at Buffalo's. We only have 2 out, which is guard Ryan Bates and defensive tackle Jordan Phillips. Other than that, vet rest day for Stephon Diggs and Twan Jones. Matt Milano, limited, but he's good to go. Like, they're the only ones that are out, are those 2 guys. Everyone else seems to be good to go for them. So, obviously, they have a way more healthy team than the Dolphins do this time around, and we'll see if that takes into account. But let's talk about the weather, because the weather outside is frightful. It's also weather. So, I'll minimize myself so you guys can see what I'm looking at. This is Buffalo Saturday, right? During the day, 33 degrees, 64% chance of snow, 15-mile-an-hour winds, accumulation of 1 to 3 inches of snow. And then at the night when the Dolphins are playing in Buffalo, it's 27 degrees, 51% chance of snow, 12-mile-an-hour winds, less than an inch of snow accumulation. So altogether, 4 inches. I'm hearing 9 inches from other people. Andrew Slater here says the NFL is talking to team and stadium officials about the weather, but no changes to the game are expected at the moment. A league source tells me, but he subtweeted 9 inches of snow is expected in Buffalo Saturday night for the Dolphins. Blah blah blah. Obviously, they are not going to just let the snow pile up and then leave it there. So there will be shoveling, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be playing at the Bills Stadium. I don't see why they wouldn't, especially if that weather is accurate where they said barely anything. So expect to be playing in Buffalo and expect it to be cold and windy. But I'll get to that, right? Dolphins have 3 safeties out. Oh, no, sorry. The Dolphins have 2 safeties out and are going to be running with 3 safeties in Javon Holland, McKinley, and Clayton Fedulum. Dolphins have 5 healthy corners. So there's a possibility of them elevating Jamal Perry from the practice squad to help in the safety position. Also, Josh Boyer came out and said there's a possibility of Noah Igbenogany playing some safety because a lot of these guys are trained to play back and forth. I imagine Noah goes to safety and all of a sudden he lights it up and plays really, really good at safety. And we actually found our safety to go with Javon Holland and Noah. That'd be hysterical. But that's the situation in the secondary. Scares the crap out of me. We will talk about that when we look at our matchups there. But let's look at the breakdown. We're going to look at the Fins offense versus the Bills defense and vice versa. So we look at the Fins offense. Points for Dolphins are 9th. The Bills defense is 2nd. There's a little nod to the Bills defense. Yards, the Dolphins are 7th. Bills defense is 9th. Passing, the Dolphins are 2nd. Bills defense is 19th. So that's where the Dolphins could take advantage in their passing game. Rushing, the Dolphins are 29th. Bills have a 4th-ranked rush defense. When it comes to third down conversions, Dolphins have been horrible. 23rd ranked with 37.8 third down completion percentage. It was better, but over the past few weeks, shot it to hell. I wonder if I have like the very first breakdown where they're it was pretty good. Like I'm gonna look pre-bye week and see if I still have it. I do. They're 15th. This was for the Bears game. 15th on third downs. 40.4%. Now they are 23rd. Not doing good on the third down percentage. The Bills' defense is 18th%, only allowing 39.6% of third down conversions. But in the red zone, the Dolphins, 7th in the NFL, 62.5% of their red zone trips equate to touchdowns. But the Bills' defense is very good in the red zone, 3rd, only allowing 47.4%. Then you look at the Bills' offense. They are 4th in the NFL on points for. The Dolphins' defense are 22nd. The Bills' yards are 2nd on offense. Dolphins are 20th on defense. Passing, the Bills are 6th. The Dolphins are 23rd. Rushing, the Bills are 8th. The Dolphins are 7th. But again, it's the same situation like the Ravens. It's the same situation like the Bears. A big portion of their rushing is probably Josh Allen. I'm going to look it up right now. And I bet you my bottom dollar that their leading rusher is probably Josh Allen. Nope, it's Devin Singletary, 642 yards. But guess who's number 2 with 628 yards? Josh Allen. So that's where the 8th in rushing comes from, because Josh Allen has 628 rushing yards. The Dolphins' defense, 7th, and they would be higher if they didn't face Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson, who put up 100 rushing as a quarterback on broken plays. The Bills are 2nd in third down conversion rates with 48.7. The Dolphins are 25th. The Dolphins are horrible at getting off the field on third downs. They are their own worst enemy, because a lot of people look at the Dolphins defense and think, they're on the field for so long. What are you going to do? It's their own fault. They can't get off the field on third downs. And then red zone, the Bills offense is 13th with 57.4%. And the Dolphins defense is 24th, allowing 60%. Not good. Not good at all. So we're going to look at our offense versus their defense, and we're going to look at their defense versus our offense. And, you know, Tua dropped. He's 5th now. He was 1st, and then he was 2nd. He's 5th. These past 2 weeks, really, he sucked it up, and he's dropped to 5th in PFF. We still have the top 2 wide receivers, you know, in Waddle and Hill. Hill being 1, Waddle being 11. Raheem Mostert, 33rd. I would love to know what Jeff Wilson is, but again, he's only been with the team for a certain amount of time. He's kind of limited there. Tua, 5th. Teron Armstead, 13th. He had a bad game last week. I will talk about that in the 5 things. Got Connor Williams doing great. Hunt kind of had an off game as well. Shell did not have a good game last week. He needs to bounce back. Jones as well allowed a free rusher in his face. Gesicki's been non-existent. Sherfield's reliable, especially with Craycraft not being in there. But we also have Jeff Wilson, so I'm not too worried about that. You look at their defense, though. Milano, Edmonds, Poyer, Oliver, Jones, Russo. I don't know why my brain stopped saying it. That's your Dangerfield right there. There it is. And that's why their rush defense is very good. Because of this right here. Your linebacker, your safety, your free safety, and your D-line. Very good. And their pass isn't great. Tre'Davious White just came back, but Jackson, not great. Hamill, all right. But this is why their rush defense is really good. And I don't expect the Dolphins to run that much on them. I would love them to, but I don't expect it. And then we'll flip it around to defense and offense. Their offenses, their offensive line is banged up. Knox scares the crap out of me, especially because we don't have Eric Rowe out there, who's very good at covering the tight ends. Offensive line is banged up. Their best guy is their left tackle. Obviously, Stephon Diggs, 5th wide receiver. Josh Allen, he's now the number 1 quarterback. Their offense scares me. Our defense has, a good D-line. We're very good at stopping the run. Not so great at getting after the quarterback. Hopefully that changes. McKinley is actually doing well. Javon Holland doing well. Xavier Howard not doing well. Kader Kohu's doing well. But yeah. In a nutshell, and I will talk more about it when we get to my prediction, but there's certain aspects of this team that scare me. And I just want this to be a confident, competitive game. But we're going to jump into the 5 things that the Dolphins need to do if they want to beat this Buffalo Bills. I don't know where that came from. Buffalo Bills team. We're going to jump into number 1. And number 1, obviously, you got to contain Josh Allen. Last week, it was pressure Justin Herbert. I think the week before was take Jimmy G out to dinner. I think the week before that was if the quarterback is a big part of their offense, I'm going to put it in the top 5. That's why I think did I have one for Kyle Allen? I honestly can't remember if I had one for Kyle Allen. I might have. Pressure Justin Herbert last week. And then before that, Jimmy G. No, I didn't have one for Jimmy G. Max protect, stop the run, no mistakes. Yeah, I didn't have one. So, again, I didn't think Jimmy G was that big of a threat. And what about the week before? Did I have one for the week before? I think I ripped it out. But anyway, got to contain Josh Allen. You can't let that man run all over you. You can't let him get time to throw the ball down the field. A perfect example of how you play Josh Allen is what the Jets did. How many times did Quinnen Williams get pressure and sack Josh Allen and make him look uncomfortable? And as soon as Quinnen Williams came out, the Jets lost the game. Josh Allen was able to do whatever he wanted to do. You've got to get pressure, especially up the middle. Christian Wilkins, have the stunts on the outside. We need to see Bradley Chubb finally start to get consistent pressure. He disappears. I think he's had 2 sacks as a Dolphin. Give up a first, and we sign him to a big fat contract. I need to see more out of Bradley Chubb. We need to get pressure on him. We need to contain him in the pocket and send the pressure up the middle and get these sacks. Because if you're allowing him to run all over the place, especially if it's not a passing type of game, it's going to be a long, long game. So that's the number 1 thing. Number 2 thing, better O-line / run game. So I hinted on this when I was talking about Teron Armstead. Teron Armstead came out and he tweeted that he's going to play. It's from Barry Jackson. It's from a bunch of people who said he's going to be out there Saturday. I'm playing. He didn't have a good game, right? He did not have a good game. I go watch the film breakdown and showed you a lot of times where he was laying on the ground on run plays, on pass plays. He didn't have a good game, and I understand he's not 100%. I understand he has a strained pectoral, which essentially is like a somewhat of a tear. I understand these things, but maybe you shouldn't have played him then. Maybe you put Eric Fisher there for last week, like I kind of hinted at, and I got a lot of flack for, because we need the line to play better, especially in the run game when you're facing a horrible rush defense. Now, this is a game where you are facing some very, very good pass rushers, and Shaq Lawson, very good pass rusher. Ed Oliver, very good pass rusher. Russo, very good pass rusher. You need to be able to protect Tua and allow these plays to develop. Now, I'm going to talk more about this when I get into my prediction. But the O-line needs to do better than it did last week against a banged-up team, because the Bills aren't banged up. And they got a top 5 defense and a top 10 offense. Like, you're playing a playoff. This is a playoff game. This is literally a playoff game. So your offensive line needs to step up, and we need to have some type of run game. some type of run game. Number 2 thing was that. The number 3 thing, if you're playing such a good game, a team, and if it's pivotal, you can't have any mistakes. Look how small that is. I'm going to make it a little bigger. That's important is no mistakes. Can't give them the ball back when we need to score. Get off the field on 3rd downs. Don't commit stupid penalties to give them the first downs or to put us in long down situations. How many times is it 2nd and 8 or, 2nd and 6 and then all of a sudden false start, holding, something like that, and all of a sudden it's 2nd and 16, 2nd and 11, and now all of a sudden you put 2 in a hole, and now he has to try to make up for it, and by making it, and then the defense. See what I'm saying? No mistakes, no turnovers. You got to play a sound game. In Buffalo, this is the last time I think the Dolphins won in Buffalo was the Matt Moore game on Christmas Eve that clinched us the playoff spot in 2016. So, come on. No mistakes there. Number 4 thing the Dolphins need to do, you got to make the adjustments. Last week was a poor game when it came to adjustments. San Diego did what they needed to shut down the offense. They put the blueprint out there. You got to make the adjustments. Mike McDaniel on the plane home, whatever, you need to make the adjustments. Everyone knows what you like to do. Obviously, we like to throw it over the middle, and we like to push the ball down the field a lot more now. Tua's leading or up there when it comes to his air yardage. We're not dink and dunk anymore. Tua's not dink and dunk anymore. Maybe flip it. Maybe drop it off to the running back. Maybe have these routes be shallow with the ones over the middle still to show the defense, they still want to, take the middle of the field and they still want to push the ball up, and you start dropping it. Break tackles. Got to make the adjustments, but not only on the offense, but on the defense. Josh Boyer came out and he said that play on 3rd down, it was his bad, yada, yada. Yeah, no duh, man. You got to make the right adjustments. You got to blitz at the right time. You got to jam at the right time. You got to make the right calls at the right times. Yes, sometimes it's a bad execution. The right call can be played, but you got to execute it. But adjustments have to be made across the board. And the last and final thing the Dolphins need to do if they want to beat this Buffalo Bills team, we need the best of Tua. We need the Tua Tagovailoa of the 5-game winning streak. We need the Tua Tagovailoa in the shootout versus the Ravens, in the shootout versus the Lions, in the shootout versus the Bears. We need that Tua Tagovailoa. We need the Tua of the last Bills game when it was 3rd and 22, and we needed to score. He needed to get us that lead, and he did it. And he threaded that needle, and he dropped a dime. We need that Tua. Tua needs to realize these past 2 games were crap, and he needs to come out and say, you know what? It's in the cold. It's against Buffalo, and there's playoffs on the line. I'm going to shut up a lot of people. That's what we need. And that is the last thing we need to beat this Buffalo Bills team. Now, there is a lot to talk about when it comes to this prediction. The cold, right? Tua doesn't play well in the cold. It's about Tua. Can Tua do it? Tua in the cold. Tua in the cold. Fun fact. I've been a Dolphins fan since 1995. Since I've been 7. Well, that's what? 27 years I've been a Dolphins fan. The Dolphins don't play well in the cold. Everyone wants to hyper-focus on Tua, right? Obviously, he's the quarterback. Tua doesn't play well in the cold. Tua in the cold. Tua in the cold. The Miami Dolphins don't play well in the cold. It's not just Tua. It's the entire team doesn't play well in the cold. It's historical. Go back and look at my Miami Dolphins Mythbusters video where I talk about that the team doesn't play well in the cold. A lot of times things break down and then everyone hyper-focuses on the quarterback that things aren't getting done and not looking at the other aspects of it. Like last week, yes, Tua played like garbage. No excuses. But Taron Armstead also had a bad game. We had no rush. The receivers couldn't get off. But it's Tua. Why isn't Tua doing anything? Why is the other 10 aren't either? The team doesn't play well in the cold. Also, there was the narrative that the Miami Dolphins had heaters on the sideline in SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. And I heard it, and then I looked it up. Both teams did. The Chargers did as well. So everyone could take that and throw it out the window. Now, there's this tweet I found of Josh Allen stats. Bills quarterback when game temperature is 32 degrees or below. And I found this funny. Now, I'm not going to use this as a, oh, there we go, we're going to win because of this, but I found this funny, right? So I guess Atlanta, in the beginning of this year, so last season, when it was 25 degrees, he threw for 120 yards. He was 11 for 26, 3 interceptions. He did horrible. Against Carolina last year in December at home, not bad. Against New England in New England, better. Against Pitt in Pittsburgh, cold, not a good game. And against the Jets in 2018, I think it was his rookie year, not a good game. Does that mean he's going to have a bad game and we can hope and pray that it's cold and we play? No. And the point of me showing you that is, who cares? Who cares about the cold? Who cares about any of this stuff? The Dolphins need to take advantage of things when they're presented to them. Incorporate the short passes. Have the short passes happen to open up the long passes and vice versa. Get the run game going. This is an important game. Now, if the Dolphins lose this game, it doesn't mean they're out of the playoffs. If the Dolphins lose this game, and I think if the Patriots win, if the Dolphins lose and a few teams win, they will be the 8th seed. So they'll be the team on the outside looking in. But if they win the next two, they'll be back in and potentially able to clinch with other teams losing. I will talk about that on probably Sunday's video where we look at the playoff scenarios again. But if the Dolphins win this game and then they beat the Packers on Christmas and the Bills lose to Cincinnati, which is a possibility, the Dolphins become the number one seed, the number one team in the AFC East again. This game is important. Now my prediction. This Buffalo Bills team is different than the Bills team we faced. Also, it's in a different element. This is where I need to see Tua play well. I don't want to, if the receivers aren't getting open, throw it down to the check down. I did the film breakdown. He was forcing the ball down the field, and that was something that somebody noticed. The offensive line can only hold for so long, especially if they're struggling, that you can't hold the ball long enough to allow these 10, 15-yard routes to develop like he has in the past. He needs to be smarter. He needs to dump the ball off to the checkdowns, to the tight ends, to the fullback, to the running back. Need to be smarter with it. That being said, the Buffalo Bills are very good on defense, and they're very good on offense. I'm going to pick this game not with my heart, but with my brain. I don't see the Dolphins winning this game. I'd love the Dolphins to win this game, and I'm going to be rooting hard for them to win this game. But it seems like things are stacked against the Dolphins when it comes to the injuries they're dealing with in the secondary. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think the Dolphins will be able to move the ball. I'm hoping Tua shows that he can bounce back. And we have the weapons on offense. It's just our defense. I don't know if they can stop Buffalo. And, yeah, that's what it comes down to. I don't know if we could stop Josh Allen. I don't know if we could stop Stephon Diggs with the secondary being so banged up and our safeties being so banged up. So I have the Bills winning 27-20 by a touchdown. But I do think it'll be a back-and-forth game, and I think it'll come down to the last play, like in Miami. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. Am I wrong? I hope I'm wrong. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. I'm going to be rooting my head off. I'm going to wear my Dolphins Against the World shirt because that's what it's like right now. Everyone's doubting us. Let's go, Miami. Let's go, Tua. Shut people up. Tell them to be quiet with your play. But other than that, guys, I'll see you tomorrow night. Dolphins taking on Buffalo in Buffalo. It's going to be a cold one. But like usual, stay classy. My friends up.